What's up, everybody? It's your boy, 𝐑𝐨𝐴 from NBA 2K Film Room, and today we have a special video for y'all, and we have a special guest, one of Bass Pro's very own, a two-time champion assistant general manager with Warriors Gaming Squad, a two-time assistant coach with Team USA in the 𝐒𝐵A space, and of course, one of the best power forwards to play it, our power forward, my personal duo, Josiah. How's it going, man? You ready to go over this film?
Let's do it, Joe. Proud to call myself your backhand.
Man, I'm excited, bro. I'm excited. Hold on. Chat, I want to make sure that his volume is up as much as possible. If there's anything messed up, let me know. If you have questions for him, let me know. If you have questions for me, just feel free to throw them in the chat. All right, let's do this, Josiah.
Let's do it. Yeah, I'm just gonna run through this pretty quickly. Don't have a ton of time, but I thought we played such interesting defense in the last two games that we played. We had a quick two game block. In the first game, we came out super hot in the first quarter against a really good team. Played probably our best quarter of the year, trying to out a new double press, and then we just kept running with the adjustments and the alterations, excuse me, in the subsequent game two, which we wound up winning. So the comms are going to play in that. This is just so good. Everybody's talking. Like, you can really sell out like this late in the clock. It's like, make them be the better players late clock.
And especially this year, it doesn't take that, like, it's a little bit less time. I don't think it takes that full 0.6 like that you would need like in past years to be able to get that flick up. So like you can be able to time that so you know what kind of shot they're getting. Flick ups aren't really going in like that. So exactly where you talked about selling out.
So here the way we started off pressing this game. I was holding the hash carry. Our point guard is in the left corner. Chris, our center, is in the right corner. Pretty standard setup. The good way to beat the press is to get a 4-on-3 on the other end. You got a 5-on-5, and the press gives the defense an advantage, especially when the center's inbounding. And this was an inside center too, so it's really a 5-on-4 for the defense or a 4-on-5 for the offense until the center gets into position of danger. So the way to break the press is to get that center position of danger so that it turns into a 4-on-3 on the back end when you keep extending the press, right? And so here he's going down. Right now they got four guys really in the scoring position. We've got two guys, in the backcourt, so it's a 4-on-3 for the offense. So I'm following. I'm trying to figure out how to play both. I get buzzed because I'm looking at the hash wrap. That's on me. I got to steal that. Right. You see me reaching at the first one. I'm still looking at this shooting guard on the hash, and that's why I'm not. That's why I'm not locked in on stealing that first one. Which again, I should totally steal. Contrary to Joe's intro, but
No, but honestly, like
yeah.
even with that though, Josiah, like if you're watching like the way I was playing it, I was just playing that lane so that he had to hesitate on throwing that hash pass because I knew that you were playing down just until Fox was able to get out.
Yeah.
So like I was shading it, but that's something like as this is like the first time we're really kind of going through it. Like with this, like we'll communicate. So like I'm shading this side and then being able to drop, or if it's Fox on that side, being able to shade. Like this way, you can still be able to play that sort of drop and that easy, cuts to the paint.
Yeah. Yeah, and to me it starts even earlier. Like we gotta the whole point of pressing on 2K is setting the tone defensively, and everything starts with the press. And here, like, there's no way in my mind as a press we should wind up letting the ball reverse right away from the press. Like we should be setting this wall here with the two of you there, using the sideline as the extra defender, and not letting this ball come back across because that's going to create the exact problems that we talked about. So here, the center maybe nudge them a little bit, but the ball getting back across after we push it up a certain way, that's frustrating to me on rewatch, and that's such a tough thing to do in person. But the most effective presses I ever saw run in the league were presses where they really dictated the spacing of the offense. And a particular example, it's a real throwback, but Game One of the 2022 Western Conference semifinals, which we wound up getting reverse swept by the Bucks the year they won the title. We did such a great job with Gradient, who was our lockdown at the time, really just dictated the tone of the presence the entire game. He just sat on one side of the court and he pushed Cooks up to his less comfortable side. And it remains, I think, the most stark example of how effective a determined press can be. Jump the fade there. In isolation like this, you always want to set your leverage to the corner because, unless I sell out here, you don't have any help there. And really, I shouldn't be selling out, right? Because it should be an easy dump off if I do it. But if Fox has set his leverage to the corner, right, that's going to set things up. I can help more, right, in the middle. The back checkers can help more in the middle. In isolation, when in doubt, you always want to set your leverage to take away the corner fade.
And also
They'll
this
add
year,
on
like
it.
you said, like this year due to shifty shooter and how overpowered it is,
Yeah.
that's people's like first go to when they're trying to score on the break, especially running to that
Yeah.
corner. So it's a good ball.
Yeah. Absolutely. All right. So we back kind of on the press against. We're doing a good job keeping it to one side here. Good release, right? Again, and like you see, like Fox, I don't think he was really doing it intentionally. It happens as a result of where he's coming from, where he's spawning on the offensive side. But you see the difference that it makes just setting things securely. And they don't wrap. They don't have the same wrapping action, but they still have the 4-on-3, right? It's still a 4-on-3 if he manages to get it over the trapper. I tag low in the paint. The cut helps me because I can play both of these two. Carrie's holding his man, right? And then we release well on the back end. I'm sitting low on it. It's inside center. Right, and we're back in it. I step to his middle, he gets double cut. So that's the problem, right? The problem too, and it's a good thing to keep double cutting and testing the point guard. If the power forward has that middle, right, send that weak side cut. Power forward's worried about the point guard in the middle. He's not thinking about the cut on the weak side.
Honestly, like that's like also on me right there too, because like just knowing like the angle I have to be able to play that and try and get over because at this point in the game he hasn't showed us if he could be able to shoot that. So and he's so like far out. Technically, like that's one of those like you have to show me you can hit those shots. So as a lock, I need to have the IQ to be able to understand like to go under. I fight to go under while you can still be able to play low, and we're still in a good defensive spot. But instead, because I was messed up, you're having to come out and sell out, which is going to allow for that backdoor cut, and you're not being able to be in position to really be able to help.
Yeah, it's a domino effect, and you can even seal him in, as
Mm-hmm.
to this side if he's this deep wing. Especially you look at the spacing of the guards on the wing. It's so deep that we really got to lean into the sideline as the extra defender. Because again, right, the secondary counter to what could be taking the screen wide and turning it into a drive, which I've gotten beat on a couple times this year already. And this cut, right, would be who's the helper? Who's the weak side helper? Are we helping low with the point guard, which really you never really want to do in 2K? Or better yet, are we pinching off the nail, right? Which is what generally we want to do against this kind of look where the point guard takes the middle, and that allows me a little more freedom on the back end to help out on everything. But we can't really pinch off the nail because of the depth at which the guards are playing. So usually, right, we want Fox helping at the nail right there. Really, the nail's here, but we're just going to take nail help as anything from the nail to the elbow, just because it's an easier way of saying it. I mean, really, ideally, you should be at the elbow, and not the nail, but I'm going to call it nail help because that's the concept is to shrink the floor and contain it on one side of the floor. So right, you see, carries the low man, Fox is the high, so he winds up having to play two. Really, ideally, we want Fox pinching in, carry being further up playing two, and that enables me to sit back further and try and take away the cut. But again, it's all these small factors that build up in the possession to where it's never really one thing that causes you to give a bucket. Again, if you get fried in isolation, all right, it's one thing you can point to, but team defense at the highest level is so particular and so detail oriented that at the highest level, practice is really about just getting the reps in to the point where you have the innate positioning and innate ability to know where to go, and then you can execute and make plays off that.
Like that just comes with time, like you said, like experience reading the floor.
Yep, Bubba stop.
Love the
Let's skate
bubbles.
through.
Honestly, that's something that I recommend, like, and something I'm gonna try and do a little bit more due to the way physics are in this game. Like the same
Yeah,
way you sort of get bump steals. Like I feel like, and we've seen it. Like so many like passes get bounced off of somebody's body. Trying to go for more of those Bubba, like those Bubba steals, like being able to put your body in the passing lane if you're not getting one. So like
yeah.
if we're not getting that lane steal, like I think the jump actually squares you up a lot better with the high flying denier, and you'll see those happening more and more.
If it didn't work, they would have named it for him.
You're not wrong.
The wrap again, right? I step up on the wrap again. It's that same 4-on-3, and we got a 2-on-1, which is great. But if we're not getting any traction, if we're not getting a trapper with this 2-on-1, then it's really dangerous on the back end.
So
He goes right down. It's exactly how you want to play it. Let me jump forward ahead because we changed up our coverage
really quickly,
of
can we
this.
go back to that really, and
Yeah,
then because it'll add on to that, because you talk about like changing up the coverage of how to do it, but in that situation, would you like if you're talking to a team, would you recommend trying to go for a trapper in this backcourt like space? Or what like do you want them to like kind of release so we're trapping more so like as soon as they cross half court to be able to force that that shrink that you talk about? They can't go backcourt now. They can't really go to this side. They're pretty much dead to rights. What do
yeah,
you
it's a
prefer?
great question, and it's a good lead into what we did in the second quarter. But I think at the end of the day, the game mechanisms change every year, and they are what they are. But it comes down to your personnel and maximizing what your personnel can do. And I think Fox is better at getting the trapper than I am, and I'm better at playing the lanes. Obviously, it doesn't look like that based on this video, but knowing your personnel and putting your personnel in the right spots to succeed is really key. But as Joe kind of alluded to and led into, what we started doing in the second quarter, I'm jumping ahead pretty quickly here, and hopefully my YouTube stream will catch up. What we started doing was we started setting the trap a little further up the court. So instead of doing it right off the inbound and trying to get up there as quickly as possible, we started going into it closer to the half court line and trying to use that as a helper defensively and that as a touch point. And that enables us to kind of set our defense a little bit more and get a little more structured and change up the angle and change up the adjustment. So here we're holding, we get out pretty well, right? We're picking it up later, right? And that means I'm holding. It's still the center inbounding. We hold for a long time. He's got a long way to go. Fox does a really good job sprinting back. Joe, let's watch what Joe does here because it's really just smart. This pass back to the point guard is the right play in this situation, but that's a tough pass to make. And Joe manages to hold that center a little bit and carry folds in. He drops a little bit to take away the lane. And that gives us just enough time for Fox to come back. Joe gets back to the point guard. I drop down. Yeah, that pass has got to be, it's there if he throws it quickly, but it's a nice job of releasing and releasing with a purpose. Again, make the opponent be the better team. You can't win everything. I played this. I mean, I just got to get that lane. One thing I try to pride myself on, and that's why I hate seeing this myself give this up, is never beating the center back up to the spot. And yeah, there are ways to take advantage of that, but I try never beat the center up to the spot in order to avoid this exact up down that I get beat on. But I mean, I don't think I can play that too much better. Jumping forward till we get a real press look. All right, here again, we pick it up closer to half. This is good. Joe's got to stay.
Yeah, we had a miscommunication on that one.
Yeah. Though, I mean, there's an argument Chris could stay because you're shading up to the top, but I think the way we play our defense, we always want you to get back there.
Yeah, like that's 100% on me, where you just keep him on ball so you're able to have your best defender instead of having the center kind of isolated on to the point guard.
Yeah.
Oh, this one pissed me off, man.
Yeah, this here, I put Chris in the back end. I just wanted to see a different look. We weren't even really pressing, and then, we just got beat him. It's exactly what you want to do. You want to crab the lock with the center of the back end. They're not really going to step like that unless the rotation is being called. And that's the shot you want to hit.
So let me ask you a question, because I know people are probably asking, why do you want to switch up the looks defensively? We talked about having you in the back end. Now we switch to Chris. Why?
Yeah, the funny thing is that I'll frame it in the way of coaching the playing. Coaching the game is really slowed down because you don't have to do anything. You don't have to execute anything. You don't have to press any buttons. Playing the game gets sped up so quickly, and you can't really make the in-second adjustments. And this is why coaching is helpful. You don't have the time and ability to sit back and think about, all right, what is this team doing? X is turning into Y. What small difference are they making that is having an impact on how we play the game? So throwing in those different looks, it is such a great way to just change things up, either without teams knowing it or teams see it. Right, he had a good crab and shot against the center in the back end, but just showing them something different means you can produce something different defensively, and also the offense gets put on their back heels. Like, all right, if they start thinking about the adjustment, now they're not thinking about executing their game plan as much, and just consistently changing it up and finding what works best for you. If you can do it in a thoughtful fashion, is really going to help your defense. So here we stick with Chris in the back end. You never want to take away a guy's confidence. You give up 1-3 in the adjustment. It's not the end of the world. Game comes down to probably a lot more threes. They're running off-ball stuff. Our standard. Fox does a good job fighting over it. He's playing well. I'm always trying to lift with my center end, and I'm trying to lift his wing. Carey should be sliding up a little bit more. And then they try and throw it back over to me, which is not a bad idea. I'm only getting 26 on it, but 26 is just enough in this case. And again, Chris still in it. We're still lifting. Carey does a nice job lifting back up there, right? Again, if we're lifting the weak side. We're lifting everything, really. Joe's got good nail help, right? And because he's got good nail help, as we talked about, right, someone's got to be covering for him on the back end, and that's what Carey does here. stepping up, taking it away, doesn't reach out to play, doesn't jump out to play, returns to his man, and then we're back matched up. And man, late clock, we're hating. Carey gets a nice jump.
Beautiful jump.
That's 100% smothered.
That's
Great,
just
great team defense.
high IQ on Carey, just to know to stay home, not to do anything crazy, just play. Because this team throughout the game that we were playing, they would try and hit corners late. They would try if it's not like a midi fade or like a long fade. That's what they're looking for. So it's just high IQ on the team.
So we stick with it again. This is another steal I should have gotten, right? Because they have here, the center's not up, and the press is really getting to the point guard's head, so he's throwing one. And now it's a 3-on-3 instead of a 4-on-3. So we should have this pretty well covered. And I'm not in great position, to be honest. Just watching it back, like this power forward, I should not be beating him to the spot in the corner like that. I should be further up on the shooting guard. But that does take away the initial passing option, and this way I kind of baited a little bit more. Chris can hold that corner while I'm there. I mean, I just got to get the steal. Like, maybe I pressed the button a second too late, but I think 2K realizes. And
it's also the setting. So because we were in man early on, like your body positioning's like not completely where you can be able to face ball and get there. So it's just we have to adjust our angles compared to what we know to be able to get that steal. Because before you're getting that 10 times out of 10 if we're in like that base zone setting because you're facing the ball, your body's already squared up. You have like the positioning alignment that you normally have. Now it just shifts it. You just have to keep laughing it. That's all.
Yep, absolutely. I'm going to jump ahead here to the third quarter where we made yet another adjustment on the press. So what we did here, we went to a classic. This is an old school. This is from like 2K20, 2K21. It used to be called the three-guard press, where what you're going to do is you got your bigs in the corners, and your point guard is going to follow the hash. So whichever side the hash winds up on, the point guard is going to release to the corner, and that same side corner is going to go into the back end of the pick and roll. Again, because we've gotten that familiarity with Chris in the back end, and I was really trying to experiment a lot with playing off the ball and seeing how we could shrink the floor with that look. I was pretty comfortable running this look, and Carey's really good defensively, so he can hold that two guard as long as need be, and that allows us to continue to press and then seamlessly release into regular half court defense. So this is not a bad reach. He said he didn't reach, but it's not a bad reach.
That was a stick.
Following. Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Carey's following, doing a good job of that. Back in the regular half court, they were shooting these. Honestly, they shot a lot of threes in this game. That maybe they shoot a couple more. Maybe they hit a couple more. It's a different story. They were shooting a lot. I just want to speed ahead to another press clip. Here, Carey did a nice job covering for Chris. So it wasn't a perfect clip. Get through it. Not that you should only watch perfect clips. I'm just saying we want to focus on the press. And that was not an example of it in this particular discussion. This is me, and then Fox rotated too. That's just me playing bad, jumping out to play. And that's one thing I look forward to working on is just being able to flow in and out of myself in the back end and be sharp when I'm in it, even if I've been guarding the corner for a while. And I think I got too used to playing it every possession that I gotta get better at switching in and out of it without losing any feel or confidence. Good grenade. Works out for us. We get the board. All right, here. Another good press clip right here. So we're in the same thing. We're in that three guard. I'm telling Carey to get up, right? Shutting things off nicely. All right, Carey's this is such a good release right here. This is pretty much ideal of what you want. Joe and Fox are holding things in, right? Pinning him in, right? He's trying to come back to it. You see he's trying to come back to it like we saw in that first clip. But they're there walling him off, and that's what scares him into throwing a pass. Now he's trying to guess the rotation. He's never thrown that far corner, really, and we're releasing out of it. And Fox's momentum is already so good that he's in a line to get there. Carey's doing a great job holding. I could maybe hold a second longer, but that's a quick toucher there, and Carey's got a shorter rotation. So Carey does a nice job, and again, we're making the offense be the better team, making the offense be the better side of the ball, and they're just not doing it, right? They're not thinking ahead of the rotation. He's not hitting the center and waiting to see what opens up off the rotation. He's trying to guess it. All right, and Carey's doing a nice job, just playing solid, holding. Fox is recovering. Joe's recovering. I'm recovering. Chris is there, right? And now, look at it. Point guard's got the ball. He's in a disadvantageous spot. It's already only 12 seconds on the clock. right? So that whole press has taken off half the shot clock. Point guard's in a bad spot, and they don't really have anything on offense, and we're playing our base defense here. That's a tough 23.
Tough one.
Jump ahead. I just want to see a couple more press clips. That's all I want to see. I mean, same thing, same exact thing. All right, exact same thing. All right, and it's a bad shot. Early 36%. All right, just another good press. Another good three guard. Another good three guard. Right, force him up the sideline. All right, he beats it a little bit. Joe recovers. Nobody panics. We release perfectly on the weak side. Right, no harm, no foul. Everybody's there.
We're not panicking completely off of that either, because where he was and so far in that game, he hasn't showed us that he's shooting that deep from Limitless. I believe he had like maybe it's like a 97, so like he did bump it up, but he didn't feel comfortable. He has blur take on, so he's not looking to really shoot at least that far, that deep. So he's just trying to take his time and see us overcompensate, fly out of the play. He can be able to step up and shoot a more clean three. But like you said, we played it patient. We got back under, and we kind of took that away.
This was a good shot from him.
Just tip the cap.
With blurs, good ball. Tip the cap. You can't get stops every time. You really can't. And I think that's the difficulty, is you try and get stops every time, you get frustrated. This is on me. This is a point of emphasis of what I usually do. And again, this is another example of how I wasn't sharp when I got back into the pick and roll. What I would usually do here is I go trap the box against the drive from Carey. And I trust Joe and Chris on the back end and Fox up top to sort this out. See me, I'm just playing the off ball. That's being selfish. I'm not helping Carey out. I got to trap the box here. He gets beat baseline, which again, you shut off your leverage to the baseline, shut off your leverage to the wing. He gets beat. I'm not in position to get a stop. Like that's me not being sharp when I get back into the back end. Nice little three from Joe there, end of the quarter. Pretty much stuck with it for the most part. And we kept rotating some different things in the half court and on the press here in this quarter, but nothing really drastic. We went to heavy a couple times with Chris in the back end, Joe guarding ball, myself on the wing. Puts the two guards in the corners heavy because you got your heaviest 3, 4, 5 players in the action. But I think one thing we did really well this game, right? We talked about those different looks. We just gave different looks every time, right? Here's Chris back in the back end, right? We're trapping it still. That's probably a steal for me if I'm locked in, right? Joe doing a great job pinching down. It was really good team defense. Really good team defense.
Not just recognizing off the bump. I recognize that you got the bump. As soon as I'm seeing that animation, it's either the pass is coming or that's like a really good spot for you to be able to go for that reach, to be able to get that steal.
Look at Carey, man. Everybody playing team defense. Carey stepping up. Right, again, this is another example. Make the offense be the better team. And he's not. The better play here is to bail out to the corner, but he doesn't make it. You know, we just saw him hit this three, right? We saw him do a good job. We said tip the cap on this three. Now Carey steps up, make them make the adjustment, make them be the better team. They don't do it. Carey gets a block out of the corner. All right, and we're running the other way, wide open, Green on the other end. That's a big swing. It's a 6-point swing right there. They call timeout off it. Look, I don't think
6-point guard too.
Us matching up poorly. Almost. All right, one more press. Look, let's see what we're doing here. Got into it slowly, but Chris in the back end, right? I'm screaming the lift. All right, that's a bad shot. It's a 4 shot. That's all it is. All right, I was screaming the lift, and you see here again. Look at the good positioning on the weak side, right? Joe's holding his leverage to the right here. Fox is helping at the nail. Carey's got his back, right? And Chris should be maybe a little bit lower, but he's avoiding the 3 seconds call. If this guy cuts, Chris takes it, right? Everything is covered, right? Everything is covered because we're in good positioning off rip. Me, I'm baiting it a little bit. He waits it out, but I can get my hand back up there at 21%. I'm living with that shot every day. All right, finally, more of the same. I forgot what we were doing here. There's a good little gap shot by him. I think we want to be in 3 guard. Yeah, we wanted to be in 3 guard, but there's some miscommunication. I remember. Good little pocket shot.
Yeah, I think that was because they showed a different look off that one. It wasn't the complete like shooting guard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Here, I got to play my backside of the off ball. Fox is there. I mean, this is why you want to put the offense in. We call it deep waters. Deep to the wing, because your corner can just lift up and help with a purpose. And my hand goes up maybe a little bit late, but again, 20%. Like You got to live with something. You can't take everything away on defense. And if you make a team shoot only 20% all game, you're smiling.
And he
So we
hesitated
had this
too.
one pretty much wrapped up. Yeah,
He
yeah.
hesitated too off of
Okay.
you showing. He saw you showing, which made him hesitate, which turned into that late on top of that 20%.
Yeah, I want Carr to follow this. That's something weird's going on. I wind up playing 2 release. I guess the first pass I shouldn't have. I should have just stepped it. I didn't get any of those all game as we saw, and they get a 3 off it. Here, I think I just put us in regular. Just said no threes. Joe got a little work done.
I should have just gave it up
Right.
as soon as I got crabbed off the 2.
Yeah, that one I said I put us in heavy, but Fox didn't hear it, and then he hits me extra to carry 3 ball.
Beautiful extra too.
Last one, we were in
Fox
heavy
beats
again, right?
selfish.
Heavy again. I talked about 3, 4, 5 up top, and that just allows me to shrink the floor. I know Carey's got my back again. I'm nail helping. He's got my back. Chris is taking away the cut, right? Chris is stepping high because we're in no threes. We all jump at it. Again, he passes it. Carey doing a great job playing too. This guy is stunned. I don't get the steal that I should have gotten there. Joe and I are on him. Joe gets the hands up. Like this is what you want at a heavy. You want like everyone to second guess themselves offensively. Point guard thinks maybe it's open. No, he's got 2 guys jumping at him, and Joe's still there. Got to dump that down to the center, but he doesn't. He tries to guess the nail help. Carries there, stepping for me. Joe recovers out for me. I go to Joe's guy, right? I'm a step behind this pass. And then look at us just trade this off so nicely. Joe takes it middle. I'm back on my hash. He gets his hands up. It's perfect. Transition. Should be if it weren't under 2. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Again, like we threw in so many different things this game, from starting out with the high double to walking it back a little bit to me being in the corner and Chris in the back end. And then we went to the 3-guard press, and then we threw in some heavy, and we just threw in some general lifts in the half court without pressing. All these different looks, right? And this is a team that shot a lot of threes, so we counted it really well. They took a lot of heavy shots, a lot of contested shots, and we played really, really good defense. So, so many points of technique and emphasis that we can improve on and get more consistent at. But again, this was really the first day that we ran some of these schemes defensively. And I like kind of putting us through the boot camp of that. We just ran a lot of different stuff at a high level, and the more we continue to do that, the more we'll have it in our back pockets, the more we can break it out when we really need it.
That's for sure. Well, thank you so much, Josiah. Appreciate it. I know people are always trying to find more about how to press in NBA 2K26, and whether it be in 3s and 5s, and one of the best people to learn from is somebody who's done it at the highest of levels. So chat, if you guys want to be able to watch more content like this, you can be able to check out our channel. Please make sure you like and subscribe. And if you want to see more content like this, like what I just said, you can click the link on the screen here.